Welcome to part 2 of this tutorial series. You can find the links to all of the parts in the video description. If you enjoy this content, please smash that like button, and if you don't want to miss future tutorials, you should subscribe. Let's get started. Cool, now we're gonna do the bottom here. So this is our top, front view. I always like to have the rendered view, the cycles rendered view on the side, and I do that basically right from the start. Some people like to model, you know, in this solid view mode here, and never really look at the final product and do the materials and the lighting after. But it helps me to visualize what it actually looks like. So I always have a cycles view on the side here. And now we're gonna do the bottom part. And it's very similar to this top part, except that we have this button and we also have the LEDs, like I said before. So let's do this. Easy way to do this. Oh, let me clean up my scene here. Take the lights, move them to a new collection. I'm gonna call the collection maybe stage. Okay. Now I'm gonna take the base top, Shift D, C, move it down. I'm just gonna reuse this shape. Maybe go into wireframe mode, edit mode, and now I can take those two, bring them down here. So I'm looking on the outside, basically mostly looking on the outside corner here, because the front is, because of the camera perspective, always bent. So I'm just gonna stick this here and rotate this around. This one has to go, you know what, I'm just gonna take those and delete them. Take this one, cheesy up, and I'm gonna make this groove in here, because it's actually two plastic pieces coming together. I'm just gonna make it out of one piece, but simulate it by making this little, you know, this a slit. I don't know, there's a little bit of a gap, basically. So GX, oh no, EX, that's what I want. Then EC down, EX, bring this over here, EC, extrude Z up, and then extrude X out, so that I'm getting this gap here. Maybe it's a little too big. We'll see. So GX, bring that out here. Again, GX, bring that out here. I didn't align my image correctly, but it doesn't matter. Let's do it like this. And then how thick is this guy? EC to extrude down to something like this thick. And then EX, bring that back over here to a position of X0. And then we're gonna add this center face again, and it looks like this. Okay, and we have this little gap in there, which should be very nicely visible here in the rendered view. Ah, this looks good. So that's the bottom shape done. Again, it's all just rotated around with a modifier. And if for some reason we can see the individual, maybe we can see them when we go to top view, you can maybe make out the segments here. And you can always go into the modifier and increase the segment count. Cool. And like I said, it only increases the detail where you want it, not this way. Okay, that's it. We have shade smooth, we have auto smooth turned on. Very good. That's basically it. Let's do the button. Also, I can see that I have some issues here. Let me fix that quick. I need a little bit more space over here. So box, select this. GC, bring that down so that it's actually standing on my ground plane here. Right, so right there. we have that little groove, and up here we should be in a good spot. So this is, let me look at my fan. Yeah, that looks about the right height. Now let's do the button. So in wireframe mode, we can kind of see where the button is. Again, because of the perspective of the picture, we have to place it like up here somewhere. How do we make a button? Well, first of all, we need this round thing, the button itself, which is, it has depth to it. So it's going to be a cylinder. But also we have to cut out a little hole out of this bottom stand that the button can go into. And when you do that, if you just put the cylinder onto the plastic, you don't get that tiny little groove, and it doesn't catch the light, and then it doesn't look good. So we're gonna make a cylinder again, just like before. Shift A, mesh, plane, big plane, edit mode, rotate X 90, scale it in, move it in edit mode so that the origin stays where it should be. Okay. I think I moved something. Yep. Don't want that. Just a GC to keep it perfectly in the center and make it as big as this button. So the white part in the middle here is probably this big. And it's, where is it? Maybe down here somewhere. That's the problem when you work off reference images. You have to imagine some things. So now we have a square with 4 vertices. Let's turn it into a cylinder again. Bevel on the vertices. How many steps? 8 or 4? Is 4 enough? Let's do 6. So now we have a circle. Let's make a cylinder out of it. So add modifier solidify. And it's quite thick. How thick is it? Probably like, I don't know, 3 millimeters, something very small. It's also in the middle of our model now. That's not where we want it. So we can go back into edit mode. G, Y, bring it forward. So looking at this from top view, where do we want? G, Y. Let's bring it out to maybe to here. Okay. And now we can't see anything yet. Because we're gonna have to cut something away from our stand first. How do we do that? I'm just gonna Shift D my object, then hit Escape to have it in the same location. In front view, I can go into edit mode, scale this guy up a little, like this. Maybe GY, bring it out. Turn up the solidify to 6 millimeters to really cut into my base shape, because this is now going to be my Boolean object. So this ring in the middle here is going to be the button, and this outer ring is the button bool. Okay, let's cut this away from this. Again, we can use the bool tool, or we can simply go, oh yeah, no, let's use the bool tool. So we want to cut this away from this, so Shift select this, Control minus on the numpad, and it cuts out the circle. And if this is not detailed enough, I can still go into this object, my Boolean object, and change the bevel to 8 segments to make it rounder. And now we have that little cutout. I can go into my button. Oh, you know what? I need to look at the reference image, how big this cutout is. Oh, it's actually much bigger. So let's bring out, just increase or make this square bigger. That's all I want to do. Okay. So what does that look like? So we have this cutout, then we have the button in the middle. I'm also going to set this to 8 to have it rounder. Also, this guy has to be smooth and auto smooth, and my Boolean object, this one, also auto smooth and shade smooth, so that the inside here. Now this is very, very detailed, but you will never see this in any renders. But it's good to know what you're doing and to practice that to be exact. Now, something that is not very visible in any of these reference images is the fact that around here, there's this white button in the middle, and then there's this white plastic, but around the button is actually like a transparent plastic ring. And I'm gonna fake this and cheat a little here, but I wanna put it in and give it a plastic material, a transparent plastic material. I'm just gonna take my button, Shift D, escape, go into edit mode, GY, bring that back into my cutout, and then increase the size to something like this, you know, just something, so that something is in there. And this is going to be button clear ring, for example. And we can give that its own material. So new material, call it plastic clear. Go down here and switch on transmission to 1. And roughness, what's the roughness? 0.5, maybe turn that up 0.7. Let's see, where are we? Wow. Okay, does that look correct? So we can see that there's something in there. It's reflecting, it's rough, clear plastic. There is no LED in there. So even if you switch it on, it doesn't light up or anything, but it does have a plastic clear ring in it. Now, what I don't like is that this is sticking out so far, so I can just take my plane here, my square, and bring it in a little. Cool. So, button is done. Now, on the back side, right on the other side, right where the button is, but on the other side, is actually where the cable comes out, and it has this little black rubber piece. So let's do that. Okay, the way I'm going to do this is, I think I'm gonna rotate on the Y, create a shape. So maybe from top view in wireframe mode, I'm gonna add another plane, huge plane. In edit mode, scale it down to very small. Then I'm gonna take these two vertices and remove them, extrude X, extrude in like that on the Y, just create some sort of shape. Okay, I'm just eyeballing something that looks like one of those little rubbery cable protector things. So this is the top view, right? Now if we take this, let me go into isolated view here. If we take this, add a modifier, screw on the Y, whoops, on the Y, so we get this. Now we can fine tune our shape a little. In edit mode, bring this out maybe bring this down. Okay, and this is just so we can stick a cable in here and make this look somewhat interesting. Okay, this is the shape. Now let's get out of this view. We can select everything, GY, bring this back, scale it down maybe a little. Okay, and then inside view, we have to bring this whole thing up to put it like right there. Okay, this is our little cable protector. Maybe make make it a little smaller, like so. Cool. Now, this should be black rubber, so right away we can go in and give it a new material. Rubber black. Okay, turn this to almost completely black. Turn the roughness way up to 0.7 maybe. And then we can see here that this is not very round looking. And to fix that, we can go in here and increase our screw modifier to 32, make it round. So this is our little rubber piece in the back, and at some point we're gonna add a cable, but this is done, I think. Let me check. We got the LEDs. Oh, we should put in some LEDs, right? Cool. I can also name this, let's call it cable protector, okay? And bring it down a little so that it's exactly on the opposite side of the button in the front. So this is the front and this is the back. Cool. LEDs. Let's do LEDs. Like I said before, I took a picture so that I have a reference of the size and position. So let me save this and bring in another image reference. Can hide that one. And where is my picture? Right here. Let's drag this in here. So take this, go here, switch on transparency so that we can see the grid and everything. Now let's place this where it makes sense. So I'm just gonna put that like here, scale it up. Of course, my picture is also has the perspective issue, but we can see. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should do it like this. Make this smaller, because in the front here, the button should be this size, and now we can model the LEDs to be roughly the correct size. Okay. LEDs, very easy to do. Shift A, mesh, plane again. Going to edit mode, scale it down, rotate X 90, look at it from the front view. Scale, G, scale. Let's do this part up here first. So it's going to be like this wide. Scale on the C. Okay. Looks like that. And then we're gonna Control R and bring in one edge loop in the middle. Scale X out, and that gives us one of those LCD or LED segments. GC, bring it up a little. So this is one of them. Let's call these LEDs. And then just Shift D on the C axis, bring this down here. Select that one, Shift D X, bring it over here. Okay, just, you know, roughly align this stuff. L, Shift D, C, like so. And then, of course, we also have Shift D, R90, Enter, G, bring it over here. Like so. Also, I think those segments are a little taller. I'm just gonna make it taller. B, G, C, bring that down a little. Select this. Like so, Shift D, X. Shift D, X again. Now we're too close here. So select them all. put it in the middle so that we have the same distance here and here. Shift D, C down here. Why is my shift button sometimes not working? G, C. Okay, that should be it. Cool. Now this is also in the middle, so select everything, G, Y, bring it forward. Like I said before, these are going to be our LEDs, and they're inside of the plastic, so they're going to be shining through the plastic. I will bring them forward as far as I can, and we're going to check that out a little later when we fix the material. Okay, so we have it modeled and it's in there. We can't see anything yet, but we did it. Cool. Now this is my reference image of the LEDs. I'm also going to hide that now. Awesome. Here we are. This is done. So our stand is finished. Thank you for watching this part. Of course, there's more in the next part. So head right over to the next video. See you there.